So in this video, we're going to implement the level sculpt tool.
Yeah, all right, so let's grab our leveling sculpt tool, which is over here. Open this guy up. All right, we don't need the lowering one anymore. That's all done. So we can get rid of that. And here's our train generator. I'm going to close that. We don't need that right now. Train patch. I don't think I need it anymore. I'm going to get rid of it if I need to. It's not really hard to open it back up. All right, so here's our leveling sculpt tool. All right, like I said, this is a little bit more difficult. So here's our raising sculpt tool. You remember this guy from the last two videos, or the last video at the very least. Oops, I messed that up. All right, I need how much of this? I'll get it. Really, we need this much of it. All right, here we go. We're going to copy that. Go over to our leveling tool. We're going to take this code, paste it. All right, we're done. No, just kidding. Now this one, like I said, I promise is a little bit more difficult than the other one. Not too bad. But what we're going to do is before we get into the inner loop, we need to check to see if we are currently leveling or not. So if we're not, is leveling. So if we're not leveling, we need to set our level height. We're going to take our level height, we're going to set it to be our position that we're passing in, and we're going to grab the Y of our position. So that will set our initial level height. If you remember from the demo, the leveling tool basically takes whatever height that the sculpt tool is at that point and forces everything within the range of the brush to be that height. So that's how we get the initial height. The other thing that we have to do is set is leveling equal to true. So now with that, we scroll down here and we need to figure out what our new height is, because with our raising tool, we're adding, and with our lowering, we're subtracting. With our leveling tool, we are completely setting a height.
Mm-hmm.
We still need a sample weight because our brush has some influence on the leveling tool. So we're going to need that, but we need a new height. So we're going to make a variable to hold that. So we'll create a var height. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take mathf.lerp, and so we're going to use the lerp. We're going to look at our vertices element I. We're going to take its current height or its current Y value, and we're going to take our level height, which is the height that we said that the level tool is going to be setting everything to, and we're going to multiply or use the sample weight as the ratio between the two. So we'll take our sample weight as the ratio between the two of those. We take that height and we use that as the Y component of our new vector that is what we're passing into our vertices. Now, we can't leave X and Z at 0, otherwise every vertex now becomes at the same point. That won't work very well for us. So we need to take our vertices array element I dot X for the X component, and we need vertices element I dot Z component. So we set that up. So that should be what we need for the leveling tool, with one exception. We've got a way of getting into the leveling tool, meaning the first time we called the form mesh, if we're not already leveling, we're going to set the level height, and then we're going to continue leveling at that height. We have no way of resetting that yet. So to reset it, we need to go down back to Terrain Sculptor, go down to our Handle Sculpt tool, and down here where we have our check to see if we've let up the mouse button or the left mouse button, and we have unapplied patch count, we can go ahead and also set our Train, what is it? It's the leveling sculpt tool. Dot is leveling to false. So basically we're turning off the leveling part. We can build that out. And now if we jump over and play, we should be able to not only raise and lower, but level out our terrain.
Okay. So raising, lowering, and leveling. Building an airstrip. Excellent.
So like we had mentioned at the very beginning when we started implementing the brushes and the tools, getting the very first one was all the hard work. But once you've got the first brush and the first tool done, doing additional ones after that, for the most part, is fairly straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
It only gets difficult when you're trying to do some really crazy brushes, like a smoothing brush. So that's when things get a little bit more difficult.
Speaking of which, that's coming up next.
Yeah. And then at some point, I'm going to have to play with a stitch brush to restitch these patches.
Oh, sorry. That it?
Yeah, it's like going, I'm just watching you have fun with the leveling tool.
Working on my golf course. All right, excellent. All right, ladies and gentlemen, then with that, that is going to conclude our level sculpt tool. Thanks a lot.